and 3 years ago, this terrace was empty concrete. No plants, no pots, nothing but a water tank and a clothesline. Today, it feeds my family vegetables almost every single week: tomatoes, chilies, greens, even the occasional pumpkin sneaking over the railing. This isn't a highlight reel. This is the full story. The dead plants, the wasted money, the mistakes I made. So you don't have to. If you ever looked at your balcony or terrace and thought, I could never grow anything here, stay with me. Because I thought the exact same thing. I didn't grow up gardening. My grandfather did. He had a small patch of land, and I have vague memories of following him around as a kid, watching him work soil that seemed to do whatever he wanted. When he passed, that knowledge mostly went with him. Years later, sitting on an empty concrete terrace in the city, something made me want to try and recover a piece of that. Not out of nostalgia exactly, more out of a feeling that I'd lost access to something useful, something real, and I wanted it back. Here's what I did wrong immediately. I went to a nursery and bought 20 pots, 6 bags of soil, and a dozen different seed packets: tomatoes, capsicum, cauliflower, roses, all of it. I had no plan. Within 3 weeks, half those plants were dead. Overwatered, underwatered, wrong sunlight, wrong soil for the wrong plant. I'd spent real money and had almost nothing to show for it except a terrace full of sad, yellowing stems. The turning point wasn't a fancy technique. It was slowing down. I threw out the ambition to have everything growing at once and instead picked three things: chilies, curry leaf, and spinach. Forgiving plants. Plants that tolerate a beginner's mistakes. And instead of guessing, I started actually watching them, checking soil with my finger before watering, noticing which corner of the terrace got real sun versus which just got bright shade. This is the part almost every beginner skips, and it's the single most important step. I spent an entire week just observing. Where did the sun hit at 8 am? Where was it gone by noon? Which corner stayed damp longer after watering? I sketched a rough map of my terrace with sun hours marked in each zone. That map decided everything that came after: which pots went where, what I could realistically grow, and where I was wasting effort trying to force a plant into the wrong spot. My second big mistake was soil. I used plain garden soil straight into pots, the same way you'd expect a plant to grow in the ground. It compacted hard within weeks, choking roots of oxygen and water. A local nursery owner, who I now consider something of a mentor, told me something simple that changed everything. Pots are not the ground, so don't treat the soil like it is. Two parts garden soil, one part compost, one part coco peat. That ratio became my foundation for every pot since. Once I understood my sunlight map and fixed my soil mix, I built what I now think of as a system rather than a collection of random plants. Morning sun corner, chilies and tomatoes, which need 6 plus hours of direct light. Partial shade corner, spinach, coriander, and mint, which bolt and wilt in harsh afternoon sun. The shadiest strip along the wall, curry leaf, and a few ornamentals that don't need much light at all. Every new plant I added had to earn its spot based on what that specific corner of the terrace could actually support. Somewhere in month 4, I started composting kitchen scraps in a simple bucket with holes drilled for airflow. This wasn't for environmental reasons initially, it was because I was tired of buying fertilizer. Vegetable peels, tea leaves, eggshells, layered with dried leaves I collected from the street. Turn every few days. 6 weeks later, I had dark, crumbly compost that made an obvious difference in how my plants responded: faster growth, deeper green leaves, better resistance to pests. I remember the first curry leaf harvest vividly, not because it was impressive, but because it was mine. A handful of leaves, picked straight off a plant I'd nearly killed twice before figuring out it just wanted less water and more shade than I'd given it. That handful of leaves in a curry meant more to me than any restaurant meal that year. That's the moment terrace gardening stopped being an experiment and became something I was actually going to keep doing. Nothing tests a beginner gardener like the first serious pest outbreak. Mine came in the form of aphids on a chili plant, spreading fast, curling leaves within days. My first instinct was to panic and look for the strongest spray I could find. Instead, I learned to blast them off with a strong jet of water, followed by a diluted neem oil spray every week. It's slower than chemicals, it's also sustainable, and it keeps the plant's ecosystem, including the beneficial insects, intact. Around this time, I started experimenting with companion planting almost by accident. I'd planted marigolds along the border more for color than function, and noticed fewer pest problems on the vegetables nearby. Turns out that's not a coincidence. Marigolds actively repel several common pests. I started deliberately interplanting basil near tomatoes, garlic near roses, and the terrace started functioning less like a set of isolated pots and more like a small ecosystem, each plant supporting its neighbors. Only after a full season of getting the basics right did I start expanding, and even then carefully. One or two new plants at a time, never a repeat of that first reckless nursery trip. Beans on a trellis against the railing. A pumpkin vine that eventually took over an entire corner and produced far more fruit than I expected from such a small footprint. Each addition was based on lessons from what had already worked, not fresh guesswork. If I had to pick the single most valuable lesson from 3 years of doing this, it's this: overwatering kills more terrace plants than anything else, including neglect. Every failed plant I've had, and there have been plenty, traces back either to overwatering or to putting the wrong plant in the wrong light. Checking soil moisture with a finger before every watering session isn't glamorous advice, but it is the difference between a thriving terrace and a graveyard of pots. 3 years in, this terrace gives my family fresh vegetables most weeks of the year. But honestly, the vegetables aren't even the main thing anymore. It's the 20 minutes each morning checking on plants before the day gets busy. It's noticing new growth, catching a problem early, harvesting something you grew yourself. It connects back to those early memories of my grandfather in ways I didn't expect it would when I started. If you're standing on an empty terrace right now, feeling exactly like I did 3 years ago, here's what I'd tell you. Don't buy 20 pots. Buy 5. Don't guess at soil. Get the ratio right from day one. Watch your space for a week before planting anything. Start with forgiving plants and expect to kill a few before you get the rhythm right, because every gardener I've ever met, without exception, has a graveyard of pots behind their success story. This terrace started as empty concrete and a lot of uncertainty. It's now the most consistent, rewarding project I've built, and it started with 3 pots and a willingness to slow down and actually pay attention. If you're just beginning, that's genuinely all you need. Start small, watch closely, and give it a season. The rest follows.